I've got a question for you. Why aren't you using headphones like this for remote work? Before I started this business, I used to work from home for about 7 years. This was a mixture of freelance work, contracted work, and, as you might guess, it involved loads of remote conferencing. And due to the events of the last couple of years, virtually the entire world is now centered around either remote working or some kind of hybrid working. And that takes some getting used to if you've never worked that way before. As always, it's the tools that either make or break your ability to be a happy, productive remote worker. And it'll come as no surprise that I think headphones play a massive role in that. However, I'm not about to suggest an expensive pair of noise-cancelling headphones for your remote working, shock horror. Instead, I'm going to reveal what you and myself until now have been missing out on. These are the OpenComm UC from Shokz, who kindly agreed to sponsor this video. They're bone-conducting headphones with a built-in mic, and they're designed for people who work remotely. I've been using these for a while now, and trust me, if you're currently using over-ear headphones or even earbuds for remote work, I'm afraid you're doing it wrong. I've covered loads of over-ear noise-cancelling headphones on this channel, but I've always made it very clear that I never ever use them for calls. Over-ear headphones cut off the world around you, that's the whole point of them, and you have to spend serious money if you want decent call quality and a good transparency mode. They also get heavy, hot, and uncomfortable if you're wearing them for long periods of time. That's the main thing for me. Whenever I've used over-ear noise-cancelling headphones for taking calls, my head gets very hot very quickly. That's no fun at all, and it's a similar story with earbuds. Even the best earbuds on the market still get uncomfortable during long calls, and their battery stamina, well, it usually leaves a lot to be desired. And this is where Shokz OpenComm UC come in. So what are bone-conducting headphones, you might be asking? Well, bone-conducting headphones transmit sound waves through the bones in your skull rather than into your ear canal. Now, if that sounds really scary, don't worry, it's completely safe and it's not uncomfortable at all. Those were two of my concerns before I had these. You simply take them, place that band around the back of your head, loop this over your ears, and let the speaker parts rest just before your ears. And just to explain how this works technically, the OpenComm UC converts audio into vibrations, which then travel along your bone structure and into your inner ear. And that's where that information is turned into something your brain recognizes, which is sound. Now, like I've mentioned, these are the first bone-conducting headphones I've ever used. And what surprised me the most as soon as I first tried them is that they just sound like regular headphones. It's just like listening through your ears rather than bypassing them. But that's the point of the OpenComm UC. By using these bone-conducting headphones, you leave your ear canal completely free. And that means you can hear everything that's going on around you. And this makes for some very natural conversations. If you think about it, when you're talking to someone in person, you can still hear the world around you. If you slap a great big pair of noise-cancelling over-ear headphones over your ears during a call, that outside world pretty much disappears. But with the OpenComm UC, you get the kind of talking in person experience. You can hear them, they can hear you, and you can hear what's going on. So Shokz, the brand behind these, who are formerly known as Aftershokz, have some serious pedigree with this kind of thing. In fact, right back to 2011 is when they started setting records and breaking new ground with bone-conducting headphones. But all you care about is what these are like to use, and more importantly, who are they for? The OpenComm UC cost $199.99 in the US and have a very impressive feature set. They're really well built, they feel tough, but they weigh just 33 grams. There's nothing to these things, which means they're perfect for all-day wear. And in my experience, they do remain connected to your devices for that entire time. There's no dropouts. They're also IP55 water resistant, which is quite handy if you find yourself taking a call outside. It does happen. And they also have built-in noise-cancelling mics that make your calls very clear. In my testing, the person on the other end could hear me perfectly. They're probably the best I've tested, actually, which you'd kind of hope for anyway. But when it comes to taking and receiving calls, the audio quality is second to none. Now, if, like me, you have more than one device that you use to make calls on, so if you've got perhaps your phone and your laptop, you'll be glad to hear that the OpenComm UC can be simultaneously paired with two devices. And it's really easy to switch between, it just works. They are serious performers when it comes to battery life as well. If you know me, you know how important battery life is when it comes to headphones, and you get up to 16 hours of talk time with the OpenComm UC. And if they're running low, a 5-minute charge gives you 2 hours of talk time. That is super convenient, and on the subject of convenience, a quick shout out to the case, which is Fantastic. Again, if you know me, you know that cases are very, very important when it comes to headphones, and there's just lots of common sense going on here. It's nice and tough. It's got a nice zip on it. It's not too big. You can slip that into pretty much any bag. And when you open it up, it's got a nice compartment for all your cables and stuff. This is a very nice case. Now you should be able to connect these via regular Bluetooth, but if you can't, if there's some reason that you need to use a dongle, you can do that. It's included. A nice USB-A Bluetooth dongle is in this lovely case. It has its own slot and everything. And that dongle does mean that the OpenComm UC are compatible with pretty much every Mac, every Windows PC, which means you can get those Zoom calls done no matter what device you have. On to performance, and as noted earlier, the OpenComm UC are the first bone conducting headphones I've ever used, and I'm seriously impressed. They're just so light. Those 33 grams are nothing, and they're comfortable as well. If you put these on, within, I reckon, a couple of minutes, you forget they're there. Audio quality is just what you need for taking calls. These are not going to knock your socks off when it comes to heavy bass and audiophile-like frequency response, but that's not what the OpenComm UC are for. They're designed for people who sit on long, multiple calls throughout the day. And I haven't used anything that fits the bill for that purpose quite as well as these. And just so you can hear what they sound like, here's a little test. Okay, so this is the mic sound from the OpenComm UC. I think it does the job very, very well. It's great for taking calls, delivering training, all that sort of stuff. The other thing worth bearing in mind is that if I flip the mic up to my head like this, you can't really hear me. And the reason for that is the noise cancelling mic, and that demonstrates two things. The first being that you can get some privacy if you need to have a chat about something off the call. And the other thing is it demonstrates how well it blocks out the noise around you. So the people that are listening to you can't hear all the noise in the background. That's really good stuff. And those battery life claims are spot on. They've also got very, very good standby time, which means you rarely have to charge these. And that, for me, gets a massive thumbs up. If you're wondering, you can wear them with glasses without any trouble at all. I am super impressed with the OpenComm UC, and I'm already dreaming up ways that I can use these, which I'll come on to in a moment. So I think there are 4 ideal use cases for the OpenComm UC. The first is the obvious, it's online conference calls. If you spend most of your day in Zoom or Teams, these will make your life so much easier. The second is support staff. I used to work in technical support a long time ago, and if I'd had a pair of these OpenComm UC back then, I'd have been a much happier worker. The lightness, the ease of connection, the sound quality, it would have made my job so much better. Then there's coaching and online tuition. For anyone who spends a significant amount of time helping people via online communication, whether it be classes or tuition or demonstrating things, these remove all of the worries about discomfort, call quality, connections dropping. They just fix all that stuff. Lastly, there's a use case which is quite easy to overlook, but which I think every parent watching can relate to, and that is caregiving. With so many people working from home, the need to balance childcare with your work is really tough. I know that. We've got a 3-month-old son. I occasionally take calls from home, and if I'm looking after him, I have to be aware of what's going on. And the great thing about the OpenComm UC is that you can still hear the world around you. So if you are on a call and you need to be aware of any requests or otherwise coming in from the little people in your life, you can hear them. Me, I cannot wait to put these to full use next year when I launch my Medium Academy. Details about that in the description, shameless plug, but they're going to be such a massive weight off my shoulders or head when it comes to the audio side of running those sessions. These really have transformed the way I take calls already, and like I say, next year they will play a massive role in this business. And I think if you do lots of stuff remotely, they could do the same for you. Once again, I'd like to thank Shokz for sponsoring this video, and if you'd like to check out the OpenComm UC for yourself, just click the link in the description. If you fancy seeing the other element of my new remote working setup, which is the webcam, you actually saw that earlier with the mic test, keep watching for a link to a full review of the Insta360 link.